This is Neutral Ice.
E.J. Raddick and Dan Rosen. 30 in 30 continues today. A look at the Buffalo Sabres. No, they didn't get Mike Babcock as their head coach in the offseason, but they did end up hiring Dan Bilesma, who has won a Stanley Cup. They were also able to, with the number 2 overall draft pick, select Jack Eichel from Boston University, the Hobie Baker Award winner and a terrific prospect, a franchise player. And they also went out and made a big trade to get Ryan O'Reilly.
Buffalo's best hockey show every Monday night.
The thing I love about this is that Tim Murray has come out and he has just shown he's not afraid to make a deal.
That's right.
He went out last year and he got Evander Kane. Now, Evander Kane still has not played for the Sabres. He will now.
He will
He's
now.
going to be healthy. Ryan O'Reilly was out there. He went out there and he got Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Robin Lehner, they needed a goaltender, so he targeted Robin Lehner. And he's improved the team dramatically. They had 23 wins last year. I don't think 35 to 40 wins this season is something they can't do. I really think it's a possibility.
You get that through your head?
It's all right. Playoffs or no playoffs?
Well, I think 35 to 40 wins isn't out of the question, but it's not enough to get them in the playoffs. That's just not going to work for them. But it is, again, sort of like Edmonton. They're going in the right direction. There was only one way to go, but up.
Right.
And they are going up, and they're getting there probably a little bit faster than I think some people were thinking they would.
I agree with you again with the Buffalo Sabres. I think improved, be better, more competitive, but in the end, I just think it's too big a jump. I don't see them being in the playoffs this season.
I find that hard to believe.
Now, here are your hosts, Nick Lippa and Jack Sullivan.
Them Ghost Geyer game sounds.
On Buffalo's original alternative, 91.3 FM, WBNY.
You're listening to Neutral Ice on 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982. I'm brought to you, as always, by Brayton Wilson, Frank Arcuri, Derek Kramer in studio, following a 1-week hiatus, because there's not much going on in the hockey world right now. Guys, how we doing today?
Oh, we doing good.
Yes.
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, cool. You know who's not doing well these days?
Tyler Seguin!
I imagine he's having a whale of a time. Over the past week, we've had a little bit of change in the Sabres high order.
Oh.
Ted Black, was it he was fired or mutually agreed upon?
They
It was-
mutually agreed upon.
Yeah, it was originally reported that he was fired, but then it later came out that they both just decided to part ways.
Okay, so Ted Black is no longer the president of the Buffalo Sabres. They go out and they hire Russ Brandon, who has been the president of the Buffalo Bills since 2006, I believe. A lot of experience in the area running a sports franchise. He's never run a hockey team before. Before the Bills, it was he was with the Seattle Mariners in Major League Baseball. So, do we think this is going to affect any way the team on the ice? Probably not, I would assume.
No.
Okay. Also, Joe Batista, Sabres vice president of hockey-related business, resigned. A lot of people said he leaves really because he wanted the job and he didn't get it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So,
No denying that there.
nope.
Yeah.
So just a few changes up in the higher order for the Sabres.
job. I'm leaving. You're mean.
Basically. Yeah, basically. Other news from around Sabres world. Former Sabre Chris Drury is inducted into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. So he wasn't here that long, but yeah, we have fond memories of him.
We had very fond memories of him.
Past that, Canada opened up their World Junior Camp, but that's about it. Let's start with what Brayton let us in with. NHL 30 for 30 on their website, previewing all the teams, previewed the Buffalo Sabres. Talking about Jack Eichel coming in, of course, as the draft pick. Evander Kane and Ryan O'Reilly are set to make their debuts, as well as Robin Lehner. So right now, NHL.com and NBC as well don't have the Sabres really contending for a playoff spot. Do we disagree with this?
I mean,
Contending, remember.
yeah, I'd say they'll be contending, and then like the final month it'll just fade. But they'll be in the picture for most of the year.
They even mentioned David Legwan, by the way, but pretty sure he's not going to have a significant role on this team.
No.
He's a name. That's why they mention names.
Yeah, they talk about Reinhardt maybe starting off in Rochester, which to me shows that they're a little inept to the fact that he had an amazing development camp and that Tim Murray has said repeatedly that they expect him to be in the lineup.
Yep.
But again, things could be different when it comes to training camp. By the end of training camp, somebody could prove that they're not ready, or somebody could prove that they're capable of playing in the NHL right away.
Yeah. And in development camp, you're competing against rookies and players that are not near the NHL yet, whereas training camp, he's going to be competing against veterans. So that's going to be a lot tougher for him. One thing they did mention in NHL that I don't think has gotten a lot of talk about is they pointed out they think Chad Johnson is a above average backup goaltender in the league. I see him as a potential problem because Robin Lehner is shown to be injury prone with concussions over the past few years. Chad Johnson is the only other goalie with NHL experience behind him. So do we see a possible problem and maybe a need to upgrade as the backup goaltending position?
Well, I mean, Chad Johnson proved it 2 years ago with Boston that he's capable of backing up.
That was Boston.
Yeah, I mean, it's Boston, but, he did play pretty well. And granted, he did have a good defense in front of him, but then he went to the Islanders and had a slow start, but then came back and played all right until he got traded to Buffalo and never played again the rest of the season.
Because he got hurt in practice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd be a little leery of it, but I'm comfortable with Chad Johnson being there. And all indications are Robin Lehner's 100% healthy right now. If that's the case, then I have no problem with this whatsoever. If Lehner can stay healthy, then no worries. No worries in my books. And even if he can't, I would trust Johnson in the time being. But, I mean, again, we haven't seen him fully play in a Sabres uniform yet. So there's no telling right now how he's going to look with the defense that we have right now or the talent that we have right now. There's just no way we can tell.
His career numbers are 28 wins, 14 losses, 7 overtime losses, with a .914 save percentage and .241 goals against. So those are decent numbers.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, there's no problem here.
Do we think there's any chance that they will still add another goalie with NHL experience? Even like if it's a guy like this guy, he's already signed, but like a Drew McIntyre type of player where they have NHL experience, but they're not necessarily a prospect. Because really all in Rochester right now, it's prospects.
Yeah, I mean, it would be at the trade deadline. I don't think it would be any sooner than that. But I mean, again, it depends if Lehner's hurt or Chad Johnson's hurt and really what their goaltending situation is come the trade deadline, or even before then. Like, I'm not hoping this happens, but let's say Robin Lehner gets hurt. He's out for the rest of the season. I don't know. He pulls a hamstring or something like that, and it's near the trade deadline. Then maybe you go out and you trade for a backup or a goalie that has NHL experience. But at this point, I think the Sabres are comfortable where they are at goalie. I think that Tim Murray's comfortable at where the team is at goal right now because, I mean, he did trade a first-round pick for Lehner, obviously, yes. And, that just shows enough that he's comfortable with the goaltending situation the way it is right now. I'm sure he's fine with Johnson being the number 2. Lehner's going to be the number 1. And then if God forsaken something happens to either one of them during the season where they're both out, one of them's out extended period of time, then maybe he'll worry about it. But even then, I think Buffalo's okay.
Yep, and right now he's, of course, the only player with only other goalie, so we know he's going to be on the team at this point unless they add someone. So you'll see Chad Johnson in a uniform at some point. Last question on the Chad Johnson topic. How many games do you think Dan Bilesma gives him, assuming that Robin Lehner is healthy? Because we've had this question with Ryan Miller in the past, how much the backup gets in that situation.
I'd say they break him in. They break Lehner in a little bit, and I think that Johnson gets 30.
I'd say about
30?
25 to 30.
I was going to put him around 20. I mean, Murray, first-round pick into Lehner, he wants him to play.
Well, right, yeah.
But you also want to groom him in.
You can't just throw him in. That's throwing him into the fire right away. You can't be doing that.
I mean, you could see Lehner playing probably the first 10 games straightforward playing. And then after that, you got Chad Johnson. And another name that we can bring up that just remembers in our system is Nathan Lewin. He's played in the NHL.
That's right.
Looked good. 6'5", 186 pounds. He's only 23 years old. Yes, he's had concussion issues, but if he can stay healthy, he's proven in the NHL he can be just a fill-in guy whenever it's necessary.
they tendered him to as an RFA. Not a lot of people thought that they would actually go out and do that, but his performance 2 years ago must have showed Murray that he did enough that he could at least earn a contract to compete in Rochester.
Yeah, I think he goes in to the year starting out as the number 1 goalie in Rochester with Andrei Makarov, number 2, of course, and then from there, I mean, you got Linus, I don't know, Allmark, who's still recovering from hip surgery. He should be back sometime between January and February. Cal Peterson, of course, is in Notre Dame. Jason Kasdorf's at RPI, and Jonas Johansson is still in Sweden playing in the Swedish Hockey League or the Allsvenskan, whatever it is. But, I mean, I think Murray's very comfortable with his goaltending situation. Like now, again, he loves big goalies. Robin Lehner is 6'5". Even Chad Johnson, he's not a small guy. Chad Johnson's 6'3", and that's considerably good for a goalie size. And then you got Lewin, who's 6'5", down in Rochester, ready to go and ready to be called up if necessary. So,
yeah. So, goaltending will have a big impact on the Sabres season coming up, on whether they make the playoffs or not. Other things from around the league, we mentioned the Canadian World Junior team has already started their training camp. I think the U.S. starts.
U.S. has already started. They're playing. They're up in Lake Placid playing against teams like Sweden and Finland, in some exhibition. I know they got USA White, USA Blue.
Blue got.
And no,
today.
Eichel will not be playing for them.
No, Eichel's going to be in Buffalo. He wasn't even invited to the camp. Same with McDavid. He wasn't even invited to Canada's camp. So
Strome was.
Yep.
Strome and Marner were playing the same line, I believe.
I don't see either of those guys making the NHL. Maybe they get their 10 games.
I think Strome will.
No, he's
not even in Arizona.
No, I don't think so. I mean, if the Coyotes were smart, granted they're probably going to tank this year and try and be one of the worst teams, and but it's even tough to say that they're going to tank just because this year there's the top 3 picks are being put in the lottery. But I think that
at the moment their centers are Kyle Chipchura, Joe Vitale, Boyd Gordon, and they re-signed Antoine Vermette, right?
And they also have Martin Hansel.
Right.
Yeah.
I
could see Strome playing the first 9, and then right before his 10th game, he gets sent back to Erie. And it all depends, again, on if he plays well in camp. In camp, they may clearly say, okay, he definitely needs to go back to juniors. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Mitch Marner is not going to play in Toronto. I would imagine Mike Babcock and Brendan Shanahan would be a little smarter than to keep on Marner, because his size is not NHL ready right now.
He's been patient with Nylander, so I would think that's going to point to the.
And now they've got Kasperi Kapanen in the Kessel trade, too. And that's... Man, the Marlies are going to be good this year with both those 2 young kids. Both
the Marlies might be better than the Leafs.
Yeah. Yeah, the Marlies might be better than the Leafs. Just
not that that's uncommon.
Big surprise.
No, but, but
just by looking at the Coyotes roster, I feel like there's just nothing there. They only have 11 forwards signed right now.
The only prospects that were drafted this year that I could see playing in the NHL right now are Eichel, McDavid, Hannafin with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah,
Ivan Provorov with the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yes. I can see that.
And that's about it. I don't see. I can't see any other prospect playing in the NHL year 1 right out of the draft, especially in this year's class. Yes, this year's class was stocked, but with the way that teams are learning and developing their players, they're learning quickly to that. You don't usually have kids that are 18 years old who are ready to play in the NHL right away. Aaron Ekblad, that's an exception. Of course, McDavid and Eichel, that's an exception. Nathan McKinnon, that's an exception. But Nail Yakupov, he wasn't ready. He should have stayed in Sarnia afterwards. Leon Draisaitl, yep, that's another one. He should have stayed.
Naming Oilers.
Sam Reinhart,
Not that they kept Reinhart.
Right, but
Grigorenko.
Yeah, Grigorenko was definitely not ready, but that was a doing of Darcy Regier.
Thanks, Darcy.
Yeah, thanks, Darcy. But
to me, if the player is not playing great to dominant, you should send him back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If he's not, if he goes half the games without a point, you don't just keep him up here. Where like Grigorenko, when he was playing in Buffalo, I don't think he had a single point, maybe an assist before he scored his first goal the day that they said they're keeping him in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
But there's
I mean,
just
you can even look at like Calgary, like they made a mistake too by keeping, and Bennett's going to be a nice player and he played well for them, but you burned a year of his contract really for what?
Bennett played
playoffs?
well in the
Hurt,
playoffs. He played well in the playoffs. I mean, yeah, he was hurt to start
No,
off.
but
He did
I'm
get
saying
sent back
in the playoffs. They burned a year of his contract basically for 2 playoffs.
Right,
games.
but I mean, he played well. He was playing significantly well with who was he playing with? Wasn't it David
was
Jones
and Backlund.
Yes, I think so too. I think you're right on that. But
Calgary
I mean,
forwards.
Bennett, it was good that he got back to Kingston after his injury and after he healed. They got swept in the first round by North Bay, and there was no problem whatsoever with bringing Bennett back to play in Calgary. I mean, he was, probably better than some of their
Bennett
fourth line options that they
Probably
had.
would have made the Calgary team anyway.
I don't think he was. I don't think he would have.
Not right
been,
off
no.
the bat. I don't think.
Maybe the like a Reinhardt situation where he gets the first 9 games and then sent back, but it was completely fine what they did for the playoffs because Bennett was playing very well in the playoffs. I have no problem with them, wasting that first year for that playoff run because they did. I mean, they did play well against Calgary, or not Calgary, but Vancouver, and then even in the second round, Bennett played significantly decent against Anaheim, even though they were eliminated in 5.
Yeah. Which, I mean, usually you can debate on whether, like, Strome will come in. Like, we know... Well, never mind. We know that Eichel's going to be playing here the whole season. Krause is another guy I think could potentially make Florida.
There's no need for Krause to be in Florida. There's no need for it.
I just think the way he's built, the way he plays the game, he plays above his age. He was
Right.
the only other guy besides McDavid of his age to play on the Canadian World Junior team. I think he has the ability to come into camp and make the team.
Right.
I'm
but
not saying it would be smart, but I'm just saying he's the only other guy I think that might have the ability to do it.
I mean,
Just because the way he plays.
it would be tough, but again, where would you slot Krause
I mean,
on
him
Florida's
you
lineup?
can put on any line.
Right. I mean, but it's better just to send him back to Kingston right away. Let him develop another year, and then maybe next year he'll be ready to go. Like when Yager steps away, whether he retires or he goes to free
Yager's
agency or he
never
gets
retired.
traded.
Yager will never retire.
Oh, he may not
play
retire till he's
forever.
50. He may not retire till he's 50,
He's
but
going
that's
for
fine.
that.
Ageless
That's
wonder.
fine.
Yeah.
He's still a treat to watch in the NHL, and I'd love watching him every game.
Exactly.
I'm looking back at the 2003 draft because that draft was a decent draft, and I'm looking at the players that played their first year in the NHL. You've got Nathan McKinnon at the top, Alex Barkov, Alexander Barkov at number 2. Drouin was number 3. He was sent back to Halifax. Seth Jones made Nashville his rookie year right after his draft year.
Seth Jones was like a man.
Elias Lindholm made it.
Yep.
Sean Monahan made it.
Yep.
Rasmus Ristolainen made it. And I think Nichushkin made it too.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
Dushkin did make
He
it.
did.
Yeah.
Yep, he did. Played 79 games and played pretty well.
Really well.
And besides that, Max Domi didn't.
Not.
No, he didn't even get 10 games.
He'll be there this year.
Oh, he'll be there this year. I don't think he's playing. I don't think he's
He'll
starting out in
crack that
Portland.
squad easily.
Yeah, he should. He should, and I think he's NHL. I mean,
They only have 11 NHL.
he may not be
forwards.
NHL ready, but he might have to be NHL ready just because of the situation they're in.
That's kind of why I thought Strome might make the team.
Nikita Zadorov played his first 10 games. Another player that played his first. Nope, never mind. I thought Curtis Lazar did, but he didn't.
The next year.
Yeah, the next year he did. Not Mirko Mueller. Nope. Mueller did play in the AHL in the final stretch because Everett was eliminated from the playoffs. But yeah, after Nichushkin, nobody else
Nichushkin.
played
Except for Zadorov for his
except for the Zora for the 9 games, and there's one more that maybe not. No, never mind. I lied.
You did mention Noah Hannafin before. I think a lot of people think he's going to make the team just based off Carolina defensive.
Their
woes,
defensive
really.
core is not good. He's
How good do you really think he could be right away though in the NHL?
not really that great.
I mean, it should be an easier transition coming from college, but
He's probably good. I mean, I could see him starting day one on Carolina, but then him going back and forth between Charlotte Carolina, Charlotte, Carolina. I see him playing at least 60 games with Carolina this year just because of their situation. But besides that, he'll probably go back for a few in Charlotte. Or maybe he gets hurt. Hopefully he doesn't. But, you never know what's going to happen. But
I kind of see him playing like the way, what was it, Ryan Murray did last season for Columbus.
Another player that might, and I will say might, crack the roster this year for an NHL team, Mikko Rantanen for Colorado.
Interesting.
Because he has signed his pro contract. He does have another year, I think maybe 2 years left in his deal with TPS in Finland. However, there have been some rumblings that he's coming straight to the NHL. He's, going to leave Finland to come right away. And that wouldn't hurt Colorado because Rantanen's 6'4". He's a big body. He knows how to score. He's just got to work on his physical ability. He's got to work on. He doesn't use his size to his advantage because he's 209 pounds.
Could you see Grigorenko making the roster too, though? Are they going to throw in all these kids that could be pushed around so easily?
Grigorenko's only signed to a one-way contract. So if he doesn't make the roster right away, he's got to go through waivers and then be sent to who's their new AHL affiliate? San Antonio.
Yeah, San Antonio.
Yep. So
a Rampage.
Yes, because they were their original affiliate was Lake Erie, but now Lake Erie is with Columbus, which is just geographically much better.
Do we all think Colorado might actually put Grigorenko on waivers if he doesn't have a good camp?
I think so.
I don't see it.
Say he doesn't have a good camp.
If he doesn't have a good camp, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Colorado is. There's so much depth on Colorado. I'm gonna bring up the roster.
That's
here.
why I was gonna say too about Rantanen making the team. He's
a right winger
that Colorado doesn't have.
Right,
yeah. They have a lot of centers.
Yeah, but they don't have a lot of wing depth. Yeah, exactly. So their centers right now, according to Colorado's roster page on avalanche.nhl.com, Marc-Andre Clichet, fourth liner, Matt Duchene, top center, in my opinion.
Top center.
Grigorenko, Freddie Hamilton, AHL.
Yeah.
Joey Hishon, he's signed on, I think, to a two-way deal, but Colorado really wants Hishon to be an NHL player. Nathan McKinnon, number 2 center.
Yes.
Probably will be a number 1 center eventually. They also have Carl Soderberg that they traded for.
He'll be their third line center.
He can also play wing. So
many centers.
Yeah, and then they also have Jesse Winchester, who fourth line.
Also,
maybe AHL.
John Mitchell,
yeah, but yeah, that is right, John Mitchell. Yep, but again,
that's a lot of centers.
They've got some flexibility there. Grigorenko could play wing.
Yeah,
but
their only right winger is listed by General Manager in the contracts page is Jerome McGinley.
Yep, and the only other one that they have is Borna Rendulic, who they drafted they signed him to a free agent contract last year in May.
Unless they convert some centers. Unless they convert some centers, Rantanen is one of the next right wingers up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if Dennis Everberg... I don't think Borna Rendulic is going to make the roster.
No.
He's 23 years old. He's probably going to start out in the AHL.
Yeah.
Grigorenko, maybe you put him on the right side. It's so tough to tell. It's so tough because you don't know what Colorado's going to do. You don't know what Patrick Waugh is planning.
I would think do anything.
I would think Patrick Waugh would want Grigorenko at center because he had Grigorenko on his team in Quebec, and then he goes to Colorado. I would think that Grigorenko goes in trying to be the third or fourth line center, which is going to be tough. If he makes the team
with that roster,
it's going to be very tough. With this team, I could see Grigorenko being the third line center. Maybe on a line with like Carl Soderberg and.
I don't think would they ever take Soderberg off center though for Grigorenko. Just the two-way aspect of it, Soderberg is just so much better.
But Soderberg was playing a lot of wing when he was in Boston too.
True, that's right.
He was playing a lot of wings. So, but at this point, he may be the second line left winger. Soderberg on this Avalanche team.
They did that with O'Reilly.
I wouldn't say so.
They did it with O'Reilly sometimes.
They did.
Tanguay,
Frank, what would you see them more?
I was going to say Tanguay is going to be the second line left winger.
Yeah, that is true. Tanguay, he could be the third liner. They did sign Blake Como as well. Blake Como's a left winger.
They might just put one of these. They're going to have to put one of these left wingers at the right side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Feels like
they're
it.
going to have to, but, you know.
Just send it
They'll
over.
figure it out eventually.
You never know what Waz going to do.
When you look at their defense, do we think Zadorov might make the team?
Zadorov makes the team, yes.
Because they've got a lot of NHL defensemen. They've got
Zador-
Boschman,
their top
Eric
four-
Johnson,
their
Brad
top-
Stewart, and
Their
then
top
Tyson
four
Barrie.
is going to consist of Boschman, Eric Johnson, Tyson Barrie, Nikita Zadorov. Then
Over
you-
Brad Stewart or Holden.
Well, Brad Stewart is 35 years old.
So is
But
Boschman
still,
too,
I
but
mean,
Boschman's a bit
veterans.
more solid. But Brad Stewart will be their number 5
I think
defenseman.
Nate Ginnon is a better defenseman than Nick Holden.
Yeah.
I think that's a tough. I think that's a tougher
One of,
defensive
it's
roster
likely
crack than
going to
people
be
think.
one of either Redmond or Nick Holden's going to probably be put on waivers.
Well,
And it likely would be
can they even send Zadorov down still? I think they can, right?
yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. He's 20 years old. He's still on his entry level
level.
contract. Yeah, he could go down to San Antonio. But I think Zadorov, he was brought in to be on the team.
Yeah, Nate Ginnon is not only, in my opinion, a better defenseman all around than Nick Holden, but he's a better Corsi-rated defenseman than Nick Holden. Quite significantly. Yeah, it's not even close. Nate Ginnon is a way better option than Nick Holden. I think your top 6 are Barrie, Eric Johnson, Nikita Zadorov, and I'd probably say Nate Ginnon, and then your 5th one is Brad Stewart, and
Then Boschman.
probably Boschman, yeah. Boschman instead of Ginnon on the top 4. Then your bottom 5 is Ginnon and Stewart.
Colorado's interesting to me because 2 years ago of course they won the division, but a lot of it was off great goaltending. A lot of their team, they have veterans in Iginla and Soderberg and Tanguay, and even Duchesne, where I think they want to win right now. But they have a lot. They just got all these young pieces from the Sabres. I can almost see like a trade potentially where the Avalanche trade a bunch of young guys for a veteran defenseman,
They could.
like even like a
Yeah.
Phaneuf or something.
It's an option, yeah.
They have a lot. They still have 11 million in cap room. 10
Got
million
plenty in
room.
cap, yeah. It'll be fun to see what they do, but I don't think they're going to make a trade before. I wouldn't think they'd make a trade before,
Because
Before, like,
season.
it almost because then it almost would negate the fact that they signed Boschman because they signed Boschman to play the top 4, and they signed him for 3 years.
Yeah, and he's 35 years old, so it was just.
And you still got Brad Stewart locked up for another 2 years too.
Mhm. And he's 35 too,
Exactly.
and Nate Ginnon is 32.
True.
Your youngest defenseman is Nikita Zadorov. He's your future. I mean, that's why he was the big piece of that trade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it's Tyson Barrie, who's the next big piece at 24. And Barrie has proven over the years that he is
a quality NHL
very
defenseman.
quality top 4 defenseman.
Yeah.
Especially
good-
from the offensive end.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, depending on what team he would be on, he might be a certain team's top defenseman. And Barrie, Barrie's Corsi stats are, they're the best on Colorado's. Clearly the best on Colorado's.
They don't have a lot to compete with.
Right. Right. But
Eric Johnson supposedly, former first overall pick. Like you'd think he would be along those same lines, but yeah, there's not much competition there
Nope.
in Colorado. We're gonna take a short break here on Neutral Ice with Frank Arcuri, Derek Kramer, and Brayton Wilson. You're listening to Neutral Ice on 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's Orange Alternative since 1982. We'll be right back. You're listening to Neutral Ice on 91.3 FM WBNY. Joe DiBiase, Brayton Wilson, Frank Arcuri, and Derek Kramer in studio. There was a bit of news dropped today by awfulannouncing.com.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
That's right. I don't know if anyone else, I know Brayton's heard this, but there are reports. Well, Major League Baseball and the NHL
yes.
called a joint press conference for Tuesday. They did not specify a subject. Reports suggest that Major League Baseball will be taking over the NHL website, apps, and and streaming video service. That's right. Game Center next season.
Oh, good God, no.
So my first question.
Oh, good God.
Pretty sure we all had Game Center here.
Yes.
What were your what were your impressions and what was your experience like with Game Center in the past? Or not even Game Center, but like the NHL advanced media as a whole.
Well, first of all, with Game Center, I think that they just recently had a lawsuit against, I think some fan took the NHL to court and basically said, like, well, why are you blacking out local teams and everything like that? And I think the fan actually won. So now, starting next year, and don't quote me on this because I'm not entirely sure if I'm correct, but I think that starting next year, you'll be able to watch any team no matter where you are.
Yep.
Whether you're living literally right next to the First Niagara Center or not, you can watch the Sabres.
Trying to find that right now.
Yeah, I do recall reading about that lawsuit.
Yeah. I'm hoping it loads up on my computer here. I might have to look on.
I mean, if that happens though, like I think it's stupid in the first place that you can't watch your own games. Like, I mean,
right.
I mean, a lot of the times you're watching hockey because of your favorite team, and you're basically saying you can't watch your favorite team.
Okay, I have it right here. I'll try and paraphrase some of this here. It's a long settlement, but
let's read the whole thing.
Okay. Well, I won't read the whole thing, but I'll just read probably the main gist of it. A proposed settlement has been reached in a class action or lawsuit brought on behalf of consumers who purchase NHL Game Center Live from the NHL or purchase NHL Center Ice from Comcast or DirecTV. The proposed settlement is between the individuals who brought that lawsuit and the defendants. The defendants are the NHL, NHL Enterprises, and so on and so forth. The lawsuit alleges that the NHL's rules establishing the local broadcast territories and associated blackouts violated federal antitrust laws. If you purchased this from March 12th, 2008 to June 10th, 2015, the lawsuit alleges that the territorial allocation of broadcast rights within the NHL assigned to each of its member clubs and thereafter sold to regional sporting networks violated federal antitrust laws, provides out-of-market consumers with fewer choices, and inflates prices charged to view broadcasts of live professional hockey games. Defendants dispute plaintiffs' factual and legal claims and deny any wrongdoing and liability, as well as any adverse effect on consumer choices, and that prices charged have been inflated. The parties have concluded that it is in their best interest to settle the litigation to avoid the expense, inconvenience, and uncertainty of litigation. In May 2015, the court granted in part and denied in plaintiffs' motions for class certification. The court held that the individuals who filed this suit could represent a class for the purpose of seeking injunctive relief but not damages under the settlement, and subject to the NHL's continued delineation of its club's local broadcast territorial rights and associated blackout practices. The NHL has agreed to provide seasonal packages of single teams out-of-market games through NHL Game Center Live for each and every NHL club. Example, a stream of just the Blackhawks out-of-market games. These individual team bundles will be priced at 20% below the cost of the full Game Center Live package. The NHL has also agreed to make the option available to Comcast and DirecTV so that they may offer unbundled seasonal packages of single-team games for each and every NHL club available through NHL Center Ice, and although Comcast and DirecTV are not obligated to offer such packages. And that seems like that is the entire gist of it.
Take a breath.
Yes.
So basically, you'll be able to purchase, if you want to watch just the Sabres, you can do that. You can watch just Sabres games.
Yep, you can purchase a package that's 20% less than the whole package.
So if I heard that right, if you get the whole package, you would also get the Sabres, though.
I think that is correct. But judging by what I just read, that seems like what it is. And that's good.
That is very good.
It should have always been like
that. It
that.
should have always been like that, but, NHL.
Blackout
Policies are just stupid in sports.
Yeah. They
So stupid. I'm glad the NFL got rid of them for this season. I hope they get rid of them for the rest of time.
Everyone should get rid of them for the rest of the time. It's the dumbest rule. It was made in the 60s, or it was before the 60s, just to get people to go to the stadiums right when televisions were coming out. Like, we're past that. If you're not going to a game,
It's
you're not
even
going to
going-
a game. And you can find the stream now.
People still buy tickets to go to the games.
Right, and you can, in these days, you can find the stream somewhere.
Especially in a good market like Buffalo. People go to Bills games. They go to Sabres games, regardless of the fact that
they're good or bad.
Yeah, they're good or bad.
Plus, you also got to look at this day and age, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming more and more common to watch things online, to stream things.
Well, the thing
it's
is
easier, too.
It's a lot easier, too, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whenever the Bills were blacked out, I would just pull up the stream, put on my TV.
What happens if people, I mean, there's still people out there that don't have cable, and
exactly.
I mean, Fox, Bills games, Fox, CBS. I mean, but what about the Sabres, though? They'd be on cable television. If somebody without cable in Buffalo wanted to watch the Sabres and they're in the local region and they were blacked out, they couldn't watch the Sabres. And that's why I think a lot of people fought this, is just because of that fact, where some people don't have the money to have cable.
Or they just choose not to.
Yeah. Yeah. So my guess is that with that, I think that every team will be available and people can purchase single packages for single teams, which
is huge.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens when the time comes. I mean, because we're just kind of trying to take in what was in that lawsuit and kind of analyzing it and seeing how it's going to be put out there now.
And then you got this whole MLB taking it over, too, so the whole platform could change.
Oh, yeah. Which I think the MLB does a very good job in their online content. I think, however, I think the MLB definitely needs an upgrade of, last I knew of the MLB website, it was still, let me look at the MLB website right now. Okay, so they have changed it since I've last been on it, really, and it's a nice layout. I think it's less clustered than NHL's website is, because if you go to the NHL website is just, you look at it and it's just everything everywhere. Sort of not.
It's very scattered.
Yes, exactly. It's a lot of eye clutter. It's not always a good thing to have a lot of eye clutter. You want to be able to organize stuff. You want to be able to, find things easier. Yeah, exactly. And you look at MLB's website, everything looks very laid out in a nice, spaced out manner. Everything seems organized. I'm okay with this. I'm hoping, though, that the MLB takes over NHL Network, too.
By the way, they are.
They are.
We were wondering this in the break. I did some research a little bit into it. John Buccigross's Twitter account, I didn't see any official word, but he tweeted today that good news that MLB Network will run NHL Network in U.S. studio in
Thank God.
Secaucus, New Jersey. IMO MLB Network is strongest of one sport networks, along with Golf Channel.
Absolutely. The NFL Network can't even compare to the MLB Network. The MLB Network does a phenomenal job of broadcasting their sport to people out there for their central market, which is, baseball fans. People who run the MLB Network.
Yeah, it was reported by Sports Illustrated's Alan Mirror, by the way.
If they run the NHL Network's going to be a much better network, because right now the NHL Network is a complete farce.
Oh, it's horrible.
How it's run.
Sabres tank season.
What they play is just ridiculous. I mean,
every aspect of it.
Yeah, it's
like during the season, it's just, you get like the NHL Tonight. Why don't they do like a game of the night or something like that?
Right.
Or they did Thursday night games, but then the stuff was just all the same content. It's always the same content, just on a loop.
Yep.
And I mean,
I wouldn't mind, like, there were some things they did well. Like, sometimes I would like watching NHL on the fly just because, like, it kind of would rotate between games and stuff. But even that, like, they could have had a program where it was just, there was no, like, in-between analysis from, like, Kevin Weeks or whoever. And they would just go from, like, one game to the next. Or I saw one fan float an idea where it's a program where while the games are going on, every time there's a power play, you go to that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost kind of like Red Zone in the NFL.
That's what I
but
think
a
the
power play
NHL
for the
network
NHL.
always wanted to do, but they never could do it. And they always broadcasted it in their runs, like, oh, and I'll take you live to Montreal where the Habs are on the power play, and then you'd watch NHL on the fly, and they're talking about whatever happened a week ago,
right?
With the
old news,
Carolina
always.
Hurricanes. Oh, this player on the Carolina Hurricanes scored 2 goals. Oh, that's great. It's like that was a week ago.
Congratulations, Jeff Skinner.
Yeah, I mean,
you're our
it's
third star of the week.
Yeah, I mean,
even like the analysts, like it was Kevin Weeks and Jamal Mayers and Jamie McClellan. Like there was never any hot takes or anything. Like it was always smiling and the same, like, oh, everything's great and every player's amazing.
Yeah, the thing where they go wrong is with the NHL Network, especially, is that all the analysts there, they're former players that they're. I mean,
so
you watch
buddy
the
with players
MLB
playing.
Network. They have analysts there that are not afraid to be constructive, have constructive criticism for a player. His pitching style has really lagged on over the past few years. He's gotten slower with his fastball or something like that. Where at the NHL Network, they'll say something like that, but then they'll come back and say, well, he's still a great player, and be more. I mean, they're not
He's a savvy veteran.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
the best
don't
program.
be afraid to be more constructive. Don't be afraid to
Don't be afraid to call someone out.
Exactly.
I guarantee you the most watched program on NHL Network is probably at noon when they simulcast Sportsnet's Hockey Central radio show, because that's 3 analysts sitting around and they're doing constructive analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Absolutely.
they'll talk about Toronto a lot of times. When when Toronto was failing and Dion Phaneuf, for instance, was
NHL
playing terrible,
Network-
they would trash him.
The
that would
NHL
never
Network
happen on NHL
doesn't have anything like that.
No.
Besides the Sportsnet simulcast that they have, they don't do anything like that, whereas the MLB Network, they're constantly doing that.
Right.
And, I understand that, like, overnights, you do one run of a show, and then you just loop it throughout the night because, viewership's not there. But, I mean, the NHL Network, the analysts or whoever's doing the show would make a horrible, horrible error, and you would play that on a loop throughout the entire night, and you listen to that error every time it went on. I mean, wouldn't you think that they would be, okay, well, let's fix this real quick because, they could put together everything right on the fly. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's pretty easy. If something doesn't go wrong, you're playing a recorded loop, and then you say, okay, during that time, we're going to broadcast this live, and then you'll record that. If everything goes right, you just put the pieces together. It can work, but the NHL Network it's almost like they don't give a crap. And it's sad. Not only that, but I'm sick and tired of watching the NHL Network and all it being is infomercials and promos for the network. Which, you look at an NFL network, you look at MLB Network, even the Golf Channel, they actually have commercials from sponsors, from, they do their own promos, but they actually look professional. Like the NHL Networks, another thing about the NHL Network is their set. Their set is just so cheesy.
Yeah.
You have like the little made up rink there. I mean, you look at MLB Network set, their set is, it may be like a baseball diamond, but I mean, it's gorgeous. It looks very nice.
It's very
whereas
sharp.
It looks like the NHL Network set is in like a closet in in
it
Toronto somewhere.
Do you want to build a hockey rink in the house? Yeah.
You know what a big just by looking at the two sets, like one thing you look at is just like space. Like MLB Network, like there's a ton of area. Everything's like there's bright colors. There's a lot of stuff that stands out. It's very sharp looking. Whereas like NHL Network is just kind of like you're right, kind of
it's so
confined
cheesy.
to one little area. It almost looks like it's in the back of a
I'm
closet.
looking at a picture right now of the MLB Network. It's huge. They actually, but I mean, again, NHL Network, I'm sure they don't have the money to have these big sets. I'm sure, but now that the people that are running the MLB Network have this set, I'm sure that maybe they'll be able to do something. And another thing that's cool is like we see this with the NFL, we see this with the MLB. They have like a separate studio with a baseball field there or a football field where they can show like plays, analyze them. Whereas the NHL Network, they don't have anything. It would be so cool to see like a Kevin Weeks doing something like that, or hell, to see
Barry Melrose.
Barry Melrose or Mike Rupp or another NHL analyst that has played in the league be out there with like a hockey stick and, showing people like, okay, when he's, when McDavid's coming through the crease, he's going to make this move, but then instead of going to the backhand, he's going to deke out the goaltender and come back to the forehand or do something like that, do a live demonstration. That stuff really brings viewership up. It makes viewers pay attention. Whereas the NHL Network, it's just kind of like, let's go through this highlight. Joining us now on the NHL Arena cam is this guy. And then, MLB Network's studio, going back to this, their set is shaped like home plates, sort of. It looks nice. It looks very nice. They've got screens. They've got, it's wide open. Whereas the NHL Network set is, again, as I said, it looks like it's in a back closet in Toronto somewhere. I mean, the old set actually, granted small again, but it looked a lot more nice than the set now looks, because the set now just looks way too cheesy with the boards and I don't know.
Everything about it.
Yeah.
To me looks.
It's
like if I've got a picture of it up right now of the set. The whole set you can fit in one picture. Like it's just a little corner.
Yeah.
That's it. Like
yeah.
It's like they threw them in the back of some studio.
You even look at Sportsnet set. Sportsnet set is
Sportsnet
huge.
set is beautiful.
It's gorgeous. You got the main desk right in the center.
You just have that.
You got the wide screen off to one side. You got a huge area where you can put another desk in another spot. You got another side of the studio that has chairs and a couch.
And then there's
that George Strombopoulos talks to like McDavid and talks to like Mike Babcock and all those guys.
They have the Hockey Central, the radio show set too, like right in front of where they do the TV one, so you can actually see that giant set right behind where they're doing the radio show from. So like the whole studio, like. And it's the same thing, bright colors and everything. Like NHL Network, it's white and red.
Yeah,
and that's the whole thing.
I'm just hoping that when the MLB runs the NHL Network, you said that they're going to be stationed in New Jersey, right?
Yeah,
not New York or Toronto or wherever the hell the NHL Network is right now.
I believe it's
I
pronounced.
think the NHL Network is run in Toronto right now, but it's just like I don't know if
Which
it's
is
in the
funny,
same.
by the way, because the Canadian they won't be available in Canada anymore.
Yeah. So what's the point exactly?
They have Sportsnet.
Because they have Sportsnet, they have TSN.
Yeah.
Why do you need the NHL Network? Because literally, it's probably in the back closet of Sportsnet and TSN studios. Probably is.
Probably.
See if I can find out.
Yeah. So to have it run in the NHL, it has to have a huge overhaul. I hope the people that run the MLB Network really make the NHL Network look phenomenal. I hope that sponsors and people will want to put their spots, because I'm so sick and tired of having to watch the Zippy Sack commercials on NHL Network and are you tired of this? Well, I'm tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. And then watching the horrible cheesy promos that are on
where the
NHL Network
gets hot.
Yeah, where the NHL gets. I get it. That's fine. I don't care about the slogan there. If that's what you want to make your slogan, that's fine. But it's like, have something better. Don't.
And how about like make some original content for once? Like they have like it's during the summer. By the way, I also hate that they go off the air.
They
for so
don't do
long.
anything over the summer.
Right. It's like old games from the year before. Who wants to watch that?
And it's all through Sportsnet too.
Right.
They don't have anything original anymore.
I would just rather they put Sportsnet on.
I'd rather they have Sportsnet or TSN instead of the NHL Network.
Basically.
I mean, unless these MLB people can take it and completely flip it around into a very good quality like the MLB Network is, or even the NFL Network. The NFL Network and the MLB Network are obviously the top two sport network channels. The NBA Network is even all right. But it's like, compare those three, the Golf Channel, Tennis Channel, to NHL Network, and the NHL Network is just I mean, I don't know. The NHL Network looks like an as seen on TV kind of channel that you'd watch at like 3 a.m. and just see, oh, look at that.
Other than NHL Tonight, they have made 5 different original content.
Wow.
Like series. They've top 10, Frozen in Time, Classic Series, Vintage Games, and Pioneers. And 2 of those are just old games that they're showing.
Yeah.
And then top 10, which if I remember correctly, is not even them. That's Sportsnet.
That's either Sportsnet.
I think it's
because
Sportsnet.
TSN does their own top 10
Right.
stuff. Sportsnet has been doing a top 25.
Yep.
And then, what's the other one? I'm trying to think of the other top 10 sort of show that they run. It's NBC Sports Network. They have their own top 10 stuff.
Right.
The NHL Network doesn't have anything on their own anymore besides NHL on the
Pioneers.
Fly and NHL Tonight. NHL Tonight, by the way, is just a
joke.
Train wreck of a recap show. Train wreck of a recap show. And not only that, but some of the analysts on the show, granted,
the hosts. And
one thing that irks me with the NHL Network is when they had David Amber, Brian Duff doing the shows. They would always be like, all right, we're going to show the highlights of Colorado and Minnesota courtesy of FSN North. And they'd run the highlights. The Minnesota Wild broadcaster would be the guy in the background kind of calling the shots where,
There'd be
it's
no
the
talking
play-by-play.
over.
No talking. And then when the highlights are over, they would come in and say, okay, so the Wild got a 3-2 win in a shootout over Colorado. Nick Backstrom made 38 saves in a phenomenal performance.
Yes.
Basically. And then they do the in-depth stuff, or they do the interviews after the highlights where they talk to somebody. But it's like with Mark Rowe, Kevin Weeks, Jamie McLennan, Catherine Tappan, with all
That
these
other new
people,
girl.
I don't want to hear people talking over the highlights, especially for hockey, because the broadcasters in hockey are probably some of the best broadcasters in all of sports. I could care less if they're talking over MLB stuff, because MLB stuff, the broadcasters, they're just talking. And then when a play happens, they'll say, oh, there's a ground ball to second base. There's an out. Now back to what we were talking about. That's just the way baseball's run. The NBA is, so up and down, whereas the NHL, it's always just like, it's always on the fly. It's always just, there's something happening always, where the NBA, it slows down. Then a slam dunk happens, slows down, shots missed, it runs back the other way, and then a three-pointer or something like that, so it's always fluctuating, whereas the NHL...
Unless you hear Gus Johnson call it.
Yeah, unless you're Gus Johnson. But, the NFL is almost the... the NFL, you could let the highlights play with the broadcasters going behind it. It almost has that. It's almost nice, though, to hear somebody talking about a play.
Yeah.
And then if something big happens, then it's good to let the broadcasters take over that play, because then you feel the emotion.
NFL broadcast. They do it right when they talk over the highlights.
Yeah, but the thing is that with the NHL, it's better to have the broadcasters just talk.
Yeah, it's different sports. You gotta you've got to know that.
You got to understand your audience. You got to understand what they want. And I see people on Twitter. They tweet, the NHL Network is just complete garbage. And I don't know if, a lot of people are probably just hot taking. They're just sending them garbage, just like your network sucks, blah, blah, blah.
man,
No
the internet
constructive
being
criticism.
mean.
No constructive criticism with your network.
At least they don't have Pierre McGuire on.
Yeah. The only other thing the NHL Network
Bullet
does
dodge.
that's their own is NHL Live.
Right.
And that's actually pretty decent
EJ
with
Hendrick, that show's
EJ
okay.
Raddick and Steve Mears.
Right.
That's good. I like it. But
That's one. So basically, if you look at it, they have NHL Tonight and NHL Live, right? Those are only daily shows.
NHL Tonight, NHL Live, NHL on the Fly.
If you want to count that.
That's
Let's say that's three.
basically it.
All right, I've just been looking at MLB and how they've listed all their programming. They have 9 daily shows.
9.
9 daily shows.
9.
Then we talked about NHL Network and they're like making their own programming,
Yeah.
series
Right.
basically. 14 series for MLB Network, and then they also have made 14 documentaries, which the NHL Network to this point I can't remember one that they've made.
The last
They
documentary
made one on
sort
the
of
Miracle
things.
team, but there was no video or anything. It was
Right.
just pictures
Yeah.
and interviews with 3 players.
Well, I'm sure that they probably couldn't get some of the video just because of copyright sort of stuff.
Well,
and,
if you're the NHL,
but then
you
again,
can't get copyrighted.
the NHL, you should be able to get those copyrights. It just goes to show you that
Gary
whoever it is
Bettman should be fired.
No, it's not that. It's just
That's something else.
if you don't have the money, I guess that's a problem. But it's just you're a top 4 sport in North America. Your your sport should make enough money to where you can have stuff like the NFL Network or the MLB Network where you can show highlights from 1930s and 1920s and not have to just show still pictures because, I couldn't get the video to that because we didn't have the money to do it or something like that. It's bullcrap. It's bullcrap. You're a professional sports organization.
Yeah, if you're going to if you want to make a good presentation, you got to throw money into it. And it might just not be like them not having money. It might just be not allocating that money.
Yeah, they don't want to spend it.
A lot of these MLB shows too, like they have one called Clubhouse Confidential, where it's a show where they look at all the day's action, but they look at it like in a statistical measure.
I mean, the Yes Network.
Like they're doing a lot of looking for a word, innovational things. That like NHL Network is like not even close.
The Yes Network does a better job at running their own programming than the NHL Network does. And that's the Yankees. Just one baseball team runs a better lineup of network stuff than the NHL Network does.
Yankees, they have more money than the NHL?
They probably do, but
they probably shouldn't.
yeah, but
that up.
Still, the NHL's been around for, it's been around for a long time. It's not like the NHL's a new league. There's no reason that this poor of quality of broadcasting should be put out there.
Yeah, and if it's going to be this poor, don't do it.
Just don't do it. Just go without it. Just have NBC Sports Network do what they do. But then again, NBC Sports Network cuts out from the last pick to go to track and field at the NHL draft. It's garbage. And then they cut out from the Stanley Cup celebration to say, we're going to go to NBC Sports Network now after, Taves lifts the cup. Then they give it to Timonen, and then Vermette gets it. Okay, we're going to NBC Sports Network. And it's like,
by the way, NBC owns 15% of NHL Network.
That explains
Figures.
a lot.
Oh God!
Like there's like they have stuff on the Caps Red Line is always on there. Becoming Wild,
Yeah,
they have
24CH.
Yeah, like they have stuff for certain teams on there. Like no other fans would want to watch that.
No.
If they're gonna do something like that, they gotta have something for every team.
They should almost why can't you do something like what was it, Road to the Winter Classic?
Yeah.
You had to stream that out to Epics. Like, why couldn't you make that yourself?
Yeah. That is supposed to be something that the NHL is supposed to do, and that you're supposed to be doing that. But then again, even the NHL's online content is bad. Really, really bad.
I tend to stay away from it.
I mean,
I'll just take my
I'm
hockey
really
highlights up on
looking forward to the MLB taking over online content.
I really hope they
the
change a
NHL
lot.
Network.
I watch NHL Network pretty much all during hockey season, just for the
Me
hockey
too.
I still
highlights.
watch
it.
Just for the I only watch it for the hockey highlights.
Yeah, because I want to know what happens.
Yeah. I've been watching Golf Channel pretty much all summer, and I see the difference between the two. Golf Channel is way, way better in what they do. They have a lot of really good shows on there, and then just everything that they put on there is just good. They got a daily morning show.
And even when golf's not in season in the wintertime, they still have content to put out there.
Even
like daily shows even. That's important.
Yeah.
And the NHL Network has one for 2 hours?
Yeah.
MLB, they have 9 of them. They have them throughout the entire day.
Yeah, like Golf Channel, right? Golf Channel has coverage of all the major tours. So that's the PGA, the Web.com, which is pretty much the minor leagues, the Champions, which is all the old people.
And if you want to find content to put on the NHL Network, there's games going on right now in Lake Placid where Team USA in their tryouts are playing Team Finland, Team Sweden. They could be broadcasting that.
I would watch that. Canada's playing Russia in a scrimmage tonight for the juniors.
Instead, no offense, but FastHockey.com is the one that's broadcasting those games. They do a good job. They really do.
They do.
I've worked with Rob Sanderson, who's doing play-by-play for them, and then even Joe Yurden's doing color commentary. Joe and Rob both are great guys, and I'm happy that they're there. But I mean, it's just you could be doing so much more. So much more.
Yeah.
They just like the potential. Like they have so many things. Go ahead, Frank.
I was like, one thing I really love about what Golf Channel has, they have their own original show that's been running since 2003. I have the Wikipedia page now. It's called The Big Break. It's pretty much a game show that has a bunch of amateur golfers just doing different competitions, and then the ultimate winner gets to play in a PGA tournament. and that's all run on Golf Channel. Everything is done on there. And I wish the NHL had a similar kind of at
They
least
go to rec
series.
league games and televise them. Oh, God, that would not be a good idea at all.
But it's like Golf Channel's got something like that. They got all the different kind of big break series, and they got a different kind of series on right now called Ultra Course. I've been watching it, very good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then they got let's see here, like there's a couple news shows like Golf Central, Morning Drive's that daily show I was talking about.
Yeah.
Some like it's a couple shows where David Faraday, he interviews different golfers.
Mm-hmm.
He has his own show, and then he also does his own coverage of for all the tournaments too. They have their own top 10 show as well, and they even got instruction shows. To help.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that would be one of the most popular channels on YouTube. Pavel Barber.
Yeah,
Like, seriously,
for hockey. Yeah,
do a show like that.
do a
Teach
show
kids
where you're
how to
teaching
play
people
hockey.
how to play hockey.
Or
Yeah.
how to do certain things. I remember
Yeah.
there's a video of how to execute the Datsuk Deke, and it was actually pretty good. I actually succeeded at it.
Yeah.
And I suck.
Instead, you could be watching on NHL Network right now. There is a Shawinigan versus Halifax QMJHL replay from a few months ago.
Why?
And then,
want to watch
and
that.
then, but don't worry. After there is a marathon of Pittsburgh Penguins in the room.
Jeez,
Fun stuff.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna just go home and I'm just gonna watch Golf Channel. Honestly,
You're at that point. NHL Caps Red Line marathon. after that.
listen. Listen. I'm huge on golf. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm huge on it, and I don't really watch Golf Channel during hockey season because I focus on hockey. But but with NHL Network the way it is, I would be more than happy to watch Golf Channel exclusively.
And there was
Nice
a game. Sorry. And then there was a game this morning. There was the Otters and the London Knights.
Oh,
Here's
man,
the thing.
can't miss.
On the description, it said Game 4 from the playoffs this past year, but it was some game in like January that they were playing.
Wow.
It's just little stuff like that. It just shows like they're not paying attention.
Yeah, no, they don't care.
they don't.
It's obvious they don't care. I mean, whoever's running it is just like, oh, this is my summer vacation. Oh, there's something going on with the NHL Network. Oh, well, whoever's there can fix it. I don't care. Have a little consideration for your fans because there are very dedicated hockey fans out there that want to watch your programming.
I can easily.
And
just,
when you're showing garbage that nobody cares about, you turn away your viewership. You turn away your fans.
and it's like this too.
It's like a slap in the face.
Yeah, it's like this too. I could just easily just go to YouTube and watch the hockey highlights I need. I could just step away from NHL Network and be like, I'm going to YouTube.
You can just
hockey
go to
highlights.
NHL.com, read the review, play the highlights
don't need-
there. Don't even need the shows.
I just will go to YouTube and be like, hey, look, here's the highlights from this game. Boom, done.
yeah.
Or like, hey, look, here's the complete highlights from, even NHL's YouTube page. I can just
Yeah,
watch the
exactly.
complete highlights from that and be like, boom, good. Don't have to watch NHL Network, save myself a bunch of time, and I get to do something else.
I'm going to steal NHL Network's question for today. Well, for our last question of the show. Will Coyotes prospects Max Domi and Anthony Duclair make the opening night roster? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, they will. Because they have
Yes, I
no...
say
They
Or you can
Duclair's-
say one will and one won't.
No, they both
They
will.
both will.
They both will.
Unless John Scott has a great camp.
I was listening to a past Neutral Ice show that we did a month ago, and I remember I said John Scott's not going to get another NHL contract.
You were wrong.
First of all, I was wrong, but second of all, he should not have gotten that contract in the first
but
place.
he did. He's the tanker.
But yeah,
He's
Even though-
Darcy.
even though the
him and
Sharks
Darcy are besties.
Yes.
It's true. They are
They're
besties.
best friends.
Best friends forever.
Totes besties.
Well, we're getting silly here, so
we
we're
should
gonna-
probably go.
yeah, we're gonna head out. We'll be back next Monday at 8:00 for Brayton Wilson, for Frank Arcuri, and for Derek Kramer. I am Joe DiBiase. Thank you for listening to Neutral Ice on 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982.